it's quite amazing to be here. I'm said Susan Booth from Australia, and we'll speak a little bit more about my illness later. But I'm the representative on the Australian. All right, thank you.
You're a little taller than me.
Yeah. Even though I'm younger, it seems. So yeah, the Australian Amyloidosis Network is I think a little bit unique in terms of how it's set up, because the network, in fact, is the organisation of three things: the amyloidosis clinics, and I've got a slide about that in a moment, patient support, which I'll speak a bit more about, and research interests. And our patient support is what I'm involved in, which is the Patient and Family Support Committee. We are absolutely independent from doctors, but we are hosted by the network, and sometimes that's a fine line, but at no time does that ever get crossed in terms of our independence, and I've got no doubt that the members of the committee would support me on that. So, but resourcing is a huge challenge for us, and I'll talk a bit more about the geography and us. So there we are in Australia, and because of those red dots, apart from the top one, which is Darwin, and the bottom one, which is Tassie, do have clinical centres. And the reason we don't, perhaps like London, have one centre is perhaps well illustrated in the next slide, which has got France in the middle of Australia, and why we have to have the various centres that so our still sparse population can properly be treated. The centres are fantastic, but not here to talk about those today. That's probably upstairs or downstairs, wherever they are. What I did want to speak about was the PFAC, which is our Patient and Family Committee. Many of you in the room who've been around a long time will know it was started by Pat Neely after establishing the network. It has 2 members from each of the 6 states, and we are so new and so poor, and hence my question about the money to David. We've got a new chair now that Pat has retired, and they're doing a terrific job, but we're yet to meet in person. So that's, believe it or not, probably don't have to tell anyone in this room, it is so terrific to meet other patients, even here today. I haven't met that many patients in person because it's just not the way it works. What do we do? And we're working that out, and one of the reasons I'm delighted to be here and be able to report back is we've got 2 simple tasks. How do we support amyloidosis patients? And David Gregory, after your talk, or it'll be patients and their carers, and how do we then advise, if you like, the clinics on the patient experience, because that's very much our role. It's a designated role within the network, is that the patient experience will, if you like, go back up the chain to the to the clinics and the doctors, and it's extremely welcome advice and about that patient and carer experience. So it's a really good little committee, and we've got some projects, and I'll briefly speak about those. We did a national survey last year as perhaps our first kick-off project, and I'll be sharing that probably with the Alliance, who I understand are doing a survey this year. It's really useful. Unsurprisingly, very quickly, the patient's needs at first diagnosis, as we all know, are so very different to what you need during treatment and what you need post-treatment. That came out very clearly in the survey. We have a biennial national conference, that's our second project, in May 2025, and it will be more of a traditional conference with a patient stream and a doctor stream. It's being run and organised by the doctors. I'm actually on the conference committee on behalf of the patients, and each one of the state PFACs, as we're called, will organise the patient stream within their state. And 2024, we've got to work out what we're going to do post Pat Neely's retirement. Really, they're big shoes to fill, as they say. So that's just a tiny bit about our Australian network, and I've already been offered some fantastic support from some of the people in this room about where to take things next, and I'll be very delighted if anyone else wants to come and offer their experience of newly established organisations and what we can do. I really can just support everything Tracy said. I don't think there's really anything different. My goal was to. I think your goal should be to stay at work in some form, not the least because for most of us it's such a shock to be diagnosed, and I wasn't. I was lucky enough to be able to take leave, and the barriers were the same as everybody else. But they were both physical for me, fatigue, demands on time from matters medical. I don't know how I'd had time to work. But the other thing was, for me, my work was involved essentially conflict resolution. Well, I had sort of, frankly, my own version of conflict resolution going on in my head. And it was interesting. I loved my work the day before I was diagnosed. I did not want to do it the day afterwards. 3 years post, I'm 1 year past my stem cell, which has offered me the opportunity of a complete remission, which I'm very grateful for. I'm looking at possibility of doing some consultancy work, but I, like Barbara was saying earlier today, I want to now take this as an opportunity. People have spoken about community activities, doing different things. I'm kind of at that stage of my life as well, so I've got no desire to go back full time. I'm sort of at the age where I think I can retire, and I want to do other things. So I think you can. I want to say that's the one thing I would add, is that at this stage there is a chance to do other things and to take some of those community opportunities that were spoken about, and I intend to do that. So thank you, and that's it from me.